did the medical system, did any of the systems that were involved in your life during those times try to offer you the support that you needed to move through that without destroying yourself?
So my first suicide attempt was when I was about, I think I was 22, somewhere in that area. It was in 2000, I know that, so whatever that makes me. And I remember they said that I had sustained the same trauma as the same internal injuries as if I had been in a car wreck. I mean, I fought everybody. They were trying to restrain me, so which made me fight even harder. I banged my head against the brick wall. Like I was just, a mess. I couldn't move the next morning. They kept restraining me, and I kept pulling my hands out, and my hands, looked like the balloons that you blow up. I mean, it was awful. And I remember the guy coming in, I remember my stepdad at the time coming in and saying, don't say you tried to do this on purpose. They're going to put you in the psych ward. And that was terrifying to me because, I didn't have any concept of the mental health system, just what you see on TV or that it's bad or whatever. And when I told him, I was like, look, when the doctor came in, I was like, I can't afford medicine. I wait tables. I make $2.13 an hour. I have a child. And so I remember he said, we're going to get you some help. And he sent me to a methadone clinic, a group therapy at a methadone clinic. And, at the time, my drug use was not as, I feel like it was more like recreational, like binge kind of thing at that time. And so I go in there and I'm with these in my brain, like these really hardcore addicts. I did not relate to them. One lady sits across from me and talks about, leaving the kids in the car while she goes into the motel to turn tricks and her friend's beheaded in the next room. Well, I'm like, I don't relate to these people. It was traumatizing for me, to be honest, because I'm such a sensitive person. I was just like, what? I just could not relate. I didn't know how that was, I binge drank. It was not helpful. And it pushed me away. It kept me away for a really long time. And, the being in an indigent clinic, that was the other thing. I would be super medicated and I would go to tell them that, this isn't working. And they would, well, we've never seen you before. Let's give you this other thing. And they would give me another medication. And when you see your doctor the next time, well, I would never see that original doctor. I just kept being passed through hands. And so I was on so many medications at one time. I think at one time I was up to 9 medications. So I want to say it did not help, but it did teach me what I did not need. I do not believe that I was ever borderline. I do not believe I was bipolar. I believe it was PTSD, and that people just don't understand what that can do to your body and what that can, the other thing is, at the time I was on drugs all the time. Well, that mimics a lot of, mania. And so I just, truly believe I'm not saying it's not real in some aspects, but for me personally, it did way more harm than good. And I grieve that period of my life, deeply sometimes. I definitely try to be like, well, it was a lesson, or, I've learned something from it, but I definitely have a lot of grief around it.